Well, I'm going to try this again. I got a notice that I had a very poor connection, much like my brain. But I am just sitting here in this ridiculous heat, 109, and I know, Sharon, you were on just a few minutes ago, and I know you have no sympathy since I did hear that it was 120 in Phoenix yesterday, or in your area yesterday. And so I was just thinking about some thoughts I had. I'm trying to recover from everything last night, dragging a little bit today, but it's for a good cause. I was in Reno last night, and was thinking about just some things that I wanted to kind of put together. I was in Reno speaking for an event for a Tapestry Network group. And I had set the date a few months ago with Crystal Riley, who is the head of Tapestry. She's the leader of that Reno group, and it's a great group of ladies. Anyway, I was speaking about praying for your business. We had a great time. And earlier in the day, I remember I just was feeling a little bummed because a friend was going to go with me. This friend that, she goes to the Tapestry events with me. But she wasn't able to go, and I don't really mind driving. I'm good with driving, but it would have just been nice to have somebody to chat with, because by the time I leave my house and get to Reno, it's almost 3 hours. And other friends from Sacramento were going, but they had to leave earlier in the day to do something else, and so I couldn't go with them. I couldn't hitch a ride. And so I just kind of psyched myself out for the drive, and made sure that I was equipped with my coffee and my scripture songs, because there is literally no radio reception for about 50% of the drive over. But anyway, the evening, it went really well. We had a lot of opportunities to pray with a couple of ladies that have some big stuff coming up. And there's always good stuff going on at Tapestry events. So if you live in the Reno area, if you're watching this video and you live in the Reno area, I would highly recommend that you check out Crystal Riley's Tapestry group. But as I was leaving, a friend this is a different friend, completely different, returned a call that I had made to her earlier in the day. And she filled me in on some specifics of a health situation that another friend was dealing with. Long story short, she tells me that this friend that we're talking about is at a hospital in Reno. She's with her husband, who has been suffering some pretty serious seizures, and they actually had been airlifted to Reno because they were in Tahoe. They went up there for a couple of days for a getaway. But anyway, he was in the middle of a seizure and actually ended up having to be airlifted to Reno. And as she is telling me this, I just offered to go over to the hospital to provide some support, to pray with them. As she is giving me the address, I realize that I am at the exact exit I needed to take to get to the hospital. And so I'm at the hospital, I get to the ICU, and my friend's there with her husband, and it is a very serious situation. Let me just tell you that. I'm not going to mention their names for those of you that know, but I'm just going to ask that you pray for them, because God knows their names and He knows what they're dealing with. And so if you could just think about it, just pray for that situation for a couple of friends that I have in Reno. But I was, really kind of what I was doing for her was I was this familiar face in that she needed. It's kind of a nightmare, and she needed that. But let me just tell you that whatever I did for her, I'm glad that I was able to do that. But I want to tell you, it was such a privilege. It was such a privilege to serve my friend in this way. I really can't put into words what it means when I am given an opportunity to just live out the call of ministry that God's put on me. I have talked to a lot of people, and I think if you ask them, do you want to go to the hospital to visit somebody? I don't think that that's really their idea of fun. But let me tell you that for those of us with a pastoring heart or a shepherding heart, this is what we live for. We want to be that familiar face for somebody who's in crisis and they need that familiar face. We live to provide that pastoral care that, our world needs, and definitely just those in our immediate circles need. But above all of that, okay? Because, God never just does a little something. He always does something a little bit more. Above all that, I'm driving home, with myself and, my coffee and my 3 hours and all of that. God impressed on me some huge, mind-blowing truths. And the first one is, he knew that Tuesday, everything that was going to happen, he knew what was going to happen on Tuesday, June 20th, 2017. He knew all of that before I was ever born. He knew everything that was going to happen on Tuesday, June 20th, before I was ever born, before my friends were ever born. And he knew that my friend was not going to be able to ride up with me, and that all of my other attempts to catch a ride with others going to Reno was going to fall through. He knew that. He knew that I needed to be in my own car so that there would be nothing to hinder my being able to be completely and totally available to this friend who's in her crisis. He knew all of that. He knew that I needed to get the call about this friend right as the event was ending, right as the tapestry event's ending, so that I would not miss the exit that I was going to need to take to go to the hospital. And friends, he knew that I had no cash on me for parking. So the parking garage had their gates open. And I'm just saying all that because a lot has been said about divine appointments. Articles have been written, sermons have been preached, but until you actually live it out and you're in the moment of a divine appointment, it is hard, really, I think, to appreciate it to the extent that I believe God intends for us. There are so many other divine specifics in this story. I mean, one of the divine specifics even involves cauliflower pizza, and that's a completely another story that is just for a different day. But I mean, seriously, it's so crazy how God wove every single detail into this tapestry that needed to be created for this opportunity. Everything. And so I want to encourage you today I want to challenge you to get rid of the word coincidence. I want you to just strike that word from your vocabulary. God created us to be eternal beings. And we are eternal beings having a mortal experience. Everything we do, I believe everything that we do has spiritual ramifications. And I want what I do to have good spiritual ramifications. I want to be available for my friend in the hospital. I want to have to drive somewhere alone so that I can be completely available for ministry and comfort to those who need it. And I want to be scheduled for the divine appointments that God has for me. Well, have a great day, and I'm going to tell you, try not to melt in this ridiculous heat. Love you guys. See you later.